Thank you for joining us for our performance category webinar for the 2021-2022 contest season. My name is Nikki Ward and I'm the state coordinator for Tennessee History Day. We are also joined by Tori Kleinpeter, the assistant state coordinator. A little bit of information about who runs the Tennessee History Day State Program. We are the Tennessee Historical Society, and we are a nonprofit membership organization headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee. Outside of the largest public program that we do, which is Tennessee History Day, we also publish the Tennessee Historical Quarterly. We put on other public programs and lectures throughout the year for our members. We have special projects such as the publication of the Tennessee Encyclopedia of History and Culture, as well as an active collection of artifacts and documents important to the history of Tennessee that are housed at cultural institutions in the state. So if you'd like to join for the special educator rate of $25, that information is on our website. A little bit about who should perform in this category. Who should compete in this category? Students who have the time to do the research and then to craft that research into a performance. So not only are they sketching out their argument and pulling together resources, but they're also writing a script and pulling together necessary props and costuming pieces to make that argument. Students who have an understanding of narrative is also really important to the performance category. How do you write this? How do you make sure that your argument comes across clearly? Primary sources are highlighted in your performance, and that you're able to perform it well. That being said, also students who like performing, make sure you enjoy theater and acting before you decide to take on the performance category. Some things to consider for this year. Are you going to be in an individual performance or are you going to work in a group? If necessary, how will you collaborate if you're needing to be socially distanced? And how is your story best conveyed? Is this the best vehicle for your argument? Or would your argument be better served as a website or an exhibit? Something else for this year, you will need to submit a recording regardless of whether or not we are currently planning for in-person. This is just as a safety net for us, so any changes you make to your performance after the registration date will not be included in judging if for some reason we are remote. We are still planning for in-person at the regional and state level at this moment, but we are still asking for a recording by the registration date. So by February 1st, you need to submit a recording of your project. You are still welcome to make changes to your project. We know lots of people like to tinker up until performance day. That's fine. But if for some reason we are virtual, the recording you've submitted is what gets judged. So since you will need to record your performance and submit it as an MP4 file via SmugMug, you need to be thinking about how will you record yourself. What platform will you use? Will you use a camera or Zoom? And there are some specific rules for time and recording that are linked on our website, as well as our THD Padlet. We still have this resource that was made last year for the pros and cons of different ways to record yourself. We left that available for you because it was pretty helpful last year. And some other things to consider as far as costumes and props. You may have assistance in producing your costumes and props, but the design choice of fabrics, things like that, must be your own. For more information on this, you can see Rule 10 on page 16. And then also, as far as the recording itself, an adult may operate the camera for you or help you format your file for submission to SmugMug. You can edit out dead air at the beginning or end. But there are some more specific rules for the editing this year, so I'll go into that in just a moment. As far as your costumes and props, please only use backgrounds and props that you would intentionally have brought to a live performance. The recording you submit should have the same props, ideally, that you bring to state. Now, if things change a little bit, that's okay, but if you're using a couch from your house in your film that you've submitted, but you're not bringing that couch to state, don't have it in your recording. It is not something that you would have in a normal contest season. Make sure you are following the guidelines for things like that. And as far as the recording, any audio, music, or media should be present in the recording as part of the performance. Do not add in audio later. Do not talk over your film. Individual and group performances should be recorded in one take, regardless of the platform. Editing of any kind is not permitted. Do not edit together multiple clips or digital effects or audio after the fact. You are simply filming your performance. Remember that in the performance category, you are being judged on your process paper, your annotated bibliography, and your recording or your live performance. You are not being judged on your camera work. Make sure you're in focus, but this is not the point of this category. Also, keep in mind to focus on your written components. Do not let those fall to the wayside. This is your first introduction to a judge, and make sure that you're following the rules. You are following the questions the process paper asks of you. Your annotations are actually explaining how you used your resource. Did you find it helpful? How did it craft your research itself? Not explaining what that resource is. It's not a book report on your resources for your research paper. You are explaining how you use them. Some rule changes that are still in effect. I wanted to remind you of them. Toy and replica weapons are now prohibited from NHD competitions, including the recordings, as well as anything that could cause damage to the competition venue. And there's no interaction, so during your performance, don't interact with or require participation by the audience. Another big thing for this year is that the Performance Companion Worksheet is no longer required. I've still made it available as many students and educators found it helpful to the process of making sure that they were able to analyze the props and resources that they had in the performance itself, maybe deciding that they had too much stuff or too little, and really putting in the analytical work of the why of the things in your performance. But you do not have to have it to submit. And do not submit this in your final product. We will reach out to you and tell you to take it out. Do not submit this. Your submission of your entry is the same as last year. So even if we are planning for in person, you need to submit that recording of your performance via SmugMug. You're just going to go to your regional page and click Performance Uploads. And there we have all the links for you, whether you're junior individual, junior group, senior individual, senior group. You'll click on the corresponding one and upload your file to SmugMug. As far as your process paper and your annotated bibliography and cover sheet, you are going to submit that via the registration system like normal. It looks a little bit different than this year, but it's pretty much the same as far as the language. So you're going to look for the entry paper. You're going to click Upload File, and that's where you're going to put your PDF of your cover sheet, process paper, and annotated bibliography in that order. Remember, they all need to be one combined PDF. And this is how you complete your registration. If that is not in there, your registration is not completed. Some resources for you as you make your way through the performance category. NHD has a book called How to Create Historical Performance. You can find it on nhd.org. It's available in their shop. It's $29. We have resources on our Getting Started page. That's where we've linked all of the theme information, theme videos, and resources that they have. The rule book, our Tennessee topics that we've pulled together for you, as well as a really great bibliography if you do have a Tennessee topic. You also have virtual contest resources that you can check out. And we have Padlets for you. So we have a student Padlet and an educator Padlet that we update frequently between newsletters. So make sure you have those bookmarked and you're able to visit them to find the things that you need quickly. This video itself will be on our website, as well as examples of previous submissions and the guidelines, the slides from this. You can check that out, watch it at a later date if you need a refresher on what this year is going to look like. Some important dates for this year. The registration for both districts, if you are in Northeast Tennessee, opens Friday, October 1st. Registration deadline is Friday, October 29th. The contest for both is Friday, November 19th, 2021. And we know that the district contest will be virtual. We are still planning for in person at the regionals and state contest, but currently we do know that the district contest will be virtual. And then those regional contest registration dates. Registration opens for all regions December 1st. That's a Wednesday. And the deadline for educators is Tuesday, January 18th. Registration deadline for students is Tuesday, February 1st. So the educator deadline is a little bit before that because students cannot complete their registration until their educator is fully registered. So we want to make sure there's a window there for students. If you still have questions for me, feel free to join us at the advising open house sessions we have coming up. They will last for 1 hour. You do not have to stay for that whole hour. Tori and I will be available for you, and if you have questions, you will just pop in and ask whatever questions you have about your thesis, resources. If you're confused about something in the contest structure itself, we're available. So these are essentially just office hours, and join as you need to, and then leave when you're done. If you have questions before the advising open house sessions, or if you're needing just a link to something, or you just are confused and need some help, send me an email at historyday@tennesseehistory.org. I'm happy to get back with you about it. You can also email Tori at assistant@tennesseehistory.org, and we are happy to help you get on your way. So thank you for joining us, and happy History Day.